I heard that their plan is to hold meetings all over the country, memorizing Shankaran, talking about Constitution, because Indian Constitution is in peril. Many stories have come up. A parallel constitution was made by RSS, and it would come out soon. And then people are talking that constitution is useless. But here is a person who not only experimented, but at the ground level, he has shown what constitution is. In the society laboratory, he proved that constitution is meant for social change in a place like India, where there is caste, class and everything. That's why all of us should take a vow to see that this constitution remains very strongly. Nobody could touch this constitution. So I think in this backdrop, we are memorizing, talking about Shankaran, talking about his activities, and then contemplating on the contemporary situation. I was also asked to introduce Mr. Harish. Introduce my mentors, Vasanta Kannabiran and Hargopal. Vasanta Kannabiran always says that Jeevan is my friend. It's a great tribute to me. I don't know whether I never venture to talk about Vasanta Kannabiran because she is a very great personality. She is a women's activist, first generation feminist in the country, human rights activist and whatnot. So many things. All, and she's a conscience of the women, suffering women in the country and in Hyderabad, because her latest book, Pankaja, talks about this. Women of middle class, belonging to middle class, her associates, her colleagues, maids who helped her, her domestic workers, everyone, people around her, and then a great book she wrote, Pankaja. She was a teacher basically. She did her MA English. She worked for about 3 decades or so as a teacher, influencing a number of students as a teacher, not as a social activist. Every time she says, here and there I met, once or twice I met her, students, old students. They said, one lady told me that she was superintendent in my college. Her sarees are very good. That's what I told her. Then she said, these people look at my sarees, but how about the values I imbibed and values I gave them? That they don't say. And they say, she's such a great teacher. We are all spellbound in the classroom when she teaches English. That's what students said, not me. I never heard her teaching it. I saw her anger. I saw her frankness. I saw her love and affection in the house. I saw them fighting in the house. Shankaran, not Shankaran, MT Khan, Jadhav Saab, Kannabiran, Shankaran sitting silently there and arguing on things and almost fighting, coming to blows sometimes. That Vasanta Kannabiran, I know. She was instrumental in, as I said, I don't know where right from Rami Jabi's rape case till today, everywhere, every moment, in every social movement she's there. Bargav Commission, she's there. atrocities on women, and then communal rights in Old City. Later, everywhere she is there. She's presence is there, her contribution is there. And then, to my knowledge, she wrote about 14 or 15 books, I'm not very sure. She will correct it. Her life story, I forgot the titles. And then latest book, Gadar's 23 poems, 20 songs, which are very difficult to translate. She translated them. And then her first Telugu book was Manam Ila Miglam, about women's, and then women, what was happening in communist movement and the women in the communist movement. And then Mahila Paryavarnam, the portrayal of 100 or 150 women, their stories. So I don't want to praise her so much saying all this, but she is a very committed person. And then a very close, she says, that close friend of Shankaran. Any Saturday you go to Kanabran's house, Shankaran is there. There are very few Saturdays and Sundays where Shankaran was not there in Kanabran's house unless he is out of station. శంకరన్ గారికి చాలా దగ్గర స్నేహితురాలు, నాకు ఫ్రెండ్ అని చెప్తుంది. ఎప్పుడు చెప్తుంటే నేను కాలేజీ నుంచి శంకర్ నుంచి జాదవ్ కేశవ్ చాలా నేర్చుకున్నా. నేను ఇవాళ ఇట్లా ఉన్నా అంటే వాళ్ళ ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్సెస్ నా మీద ఉన్నాయి, నా ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్సెస్ వాళ్ళ మీద ఉన్నాయని చెప్తుంటుంది. శంకరన్ గారు సాటర్డే వస్తే, శనివారం వస్తే అక్కడికి పోవాల్సిందే. అక్కడ పోయి పిల్లలతో ఆడుకోవడం, శంకరన్ గారు పిల్లవాడే ఆడుకోవడం. అసలు దానికి శంకరన్ గారికి అమెరికా పోవడం ఇంట్రెస్ట్ లేదు. నాతో ఒకసారి అన్నాడు, జీవన్, ఇఫ్ ఐ విష్ టు గో అబ్రాడ్ ఐల్ గో టు చైనా అండ్ రష్యా బట్ నాట్ టు అమెరికా. బట్ దిస్ ఫ్యామిలీ టుక్ శంకరన్ టు యుఎస్. వీళ్ళతో కలిసి అమెరికాలో తిరిగినాడు శంకరన్. అంత ఇష్టంగా పోలేదు, బట్ హీ ఎంజాయ్డ్ ఇట్. సో ఇక్కడ వాళ్ళ కుటుంబం అంతా ఉంది, కల్పన ఉంది, కీర్తన ఉంది, చిత్ర ఉంది. శంకరన్ గారు వాళ్ళ ఇంట్లో ఉండవలసిందే. వాళ్ళు చేసే రసం, శంకరన్ గారి టేస్టులు, ఆయన కొన్ని సూచిస్తారు, అట్లా కాదు ఇట్లా చేయాలా. ఇంకా శంకర్కి తెలియని సబ్జెక్ట్ లేదు. ఆయన వంటల గురించి కూడా మాట్లాడేవాడు, ఇట్లా కాదు అట్లా అని. వసంత గారు ఉద్యమాలు, అంటే మామూలు ఉద్యమకారిని కాదు, ఉద్యమాలు స్టార్ట్ చేసింది ఇక్కడ. మొదటి ఉద్యమం స్త్రీ శక్తి సంఘటన. స్త్రీ శక్తి సంఘటన తర్వాత 1992 communal rights in Old City. Hyderabad Ekta. College garu nenu, we used to come from Warangal to participate in this Hyderabad Ekta. It was the first organization. Of course, APCC worked for some time. First organization which worked on communal issues, communal tensions. She made it a point to visit to every victim's house. All were recorded. I happened to see old reports, beautifully written reports of Hyderabad tensions. And then later, after some time, she started along with her friends an organization known as Asmita, a women's collective, where she chronicled the lives of Dalits. They published many books. They published writings of Dalit writers, and they tried to strengthen democracy by talking about Panchayat Raj. They published books on Panchayat Raj, and they toured villages. There was one meeting where I was also involved, such a huge meeting. Lakhs of people came. Intelligent people were surprised. They asked me, I was helping them. How did so many people came? They don't belong to, they're not Marxists, they're not CPI people, but how did these people come? That was a wonder. And it was a big meeting in Secunderabad, and I was one of the organizers of that meeting. And she was very good. She is very good in training women, and then formulating alliances. It's probably in 2005, I believe, she will correct. She was recommended for Nobel Peace Prize along with other 100 women all over the country. Am I right? Kalpana should tell me. I read it. So that is Kalpana. I don't want to tell her. So that is Vasant Kannabiran. She advises me, Jeevan, don't move. You are becoming, your, your strength has reduced. And then that's every time she counsels me, please, Jeevan, don't go to meetings. You take a scooter and roam around city all over. Don't do that. Despite her health, she came to Jadav's meeting. I was not willing. Jadav గారి మీటింగ్ రావాలని వచ్చింది, వద్దన్నా నేను, అసలు బాగాలేదు. మొన్న వాళ్ళు స్థాపించిన డిడిఎస్ మీటింగ్ అక్కడ మస్తాపూర్లో మెదక్లో అయితే నేను పోలేదు, తను పోయింది. బికాజ్ షీ షుడ్ సీ దోస్ విమెన్ whom she organized. She went there 40 kilometers away, addressed a meeting there. Thousands of women who assembled there with their grievances. That is Vasanta Kannabiran. And Hargopal గారి గురించి చెప్పే అవసరం లేదు. Hargopal was my teacher. He did not teach me. He's a great academician. I was in economics and political science and literature. He came as a public administration teacher. My friends told me that there's a teacher, he's teaching very well, and he's very smart like a film star. He was like, they told me that he's like Shashi Kapoor. So I went to his class and I started attending his classes. And he was never my teacher. And since then, Hargopal right now is conscience of the people, the conscience of the people of toiling masses of this country, and especially Telangana. Any issue, Hargopal is there. And his main concern is human rights, civil liberties, and then education. Every time, whoever be the ruler, he tries to, every time he says that we should tell them how to rule. There are mistakes, and people like us, you and me, should tell them this is not the way you should rule. Rule according to rule of law. There's a constitution, and people have these problems. So that is what Hargopal is. I don't want. He wrote many books. So many, a great academician. He is Save Education Committee chairman. He moves all over the country. There are many, and he is a member in many organizations, universities. Once Shankaran joked about Hargopal, not Shankaran, Kannabiran. We were sitting in the CCC meeting. Once Kannabiran said, Shankaran said, Hargopal, all your students are becoming vice chancellors. When will you become a vice chancellor? Then Kannabiran said, Shankaran, you do not know, Hargopal makes and unmakes vice chancellors. He makes vice chancellor, not he will never become a vice chancellor. That is Hargopal's merit. I moved with him very closely. I don't want to talk more about Shankaran, but I also moved, and I have the opportunity of moving with Shankaran when I had a great problem in Warangal. I don't know who Shankaran was then. Shankaran called the collector and said, we have concern for Jeevan Kumar. The moment I was released from lockup, I went and met the collector. Collector said, Shankaran spoke to me. How do you know Shankaran? I said, I do not know who Shankaran is. I heard about him. But Shankaran knows that there are people who are working for the masses, who are working for the rights of the people like me. So he recognizes me. That is my greatness and his greatness, I said. That, and I moved with Shankaran a lot. I will give you one incident. We were touring in Utnur. One young boy was taking us around the buses at Utnur, around their localities. That boy is a teacher. He was narrating how he got into the service. He said, I only passed 10th class, sir. There was a person called Shankaran. He gave appointments before the training, teacher's training. Later he sent us to training. That's how I became a teacher. And I said, do you know Mr. I forgot his name. With whom are you talking to? You are talking to Shankaran. Then that man bowed And then he wept. Shankaran was very unhappy. Shankaran said, Jivan, don't tell all this to cock and bull stories always. Don't tell anybody. So that is Shankaran. According to the, then Harshmandir, of course, Shankaran was also a collector, IAS officer, but somehow is not happy with what was happening in India. He was very much upset with Gujarat rights. When he came to meet Shankaran, I was there. He wanted to resign, but Shankaran said no. Shankaran said no, Mr. Harshmandir, be in the government and then try to help people. But he resigned, and then of course he came into this development sector and he started working on public issues. He wrote many books, of course. He designed many organizations. One popular organization is that communal harmony organization. And then the dragon is hanging on his head also. He is also implicated in many cases. With this little introduction, I made a very little introduction. According to the theme given here, Vasant Kannavaran is supposed to preside over this meeting. I don't know whether, because she is never you cannot confine her to any boundaries because she is a woman with free will. So whether she presides or speaks, I don't know. Let her decide whether Hargopal speaks first or Vasant speaks first.